Okay, so breaking news. A bombshell article has just been released, and it says how incel culture is on the rise in UK schools. So if you guys don't know what an incel is, it stands for involuntary celibate. So men who can't have sex because either they're ugly, they're mentally ill, they're shy, whatever. That is what an involuntary celibate is. And at this point, it's an epidemic, utter epidemic. We have the loneliest generation in human history, the loneliest generation of men in human history, and a huge segment of our society is utterly falling behind because they have no relationship, they have no wife, they have no girlfriend, they have no job, nothing that would validate them in today's society. So let's read this article. It's pretty disturbing how it's saying kids are now taking on incel culture. So it says teachers are battling an increasingly violent strain of misogyny in school amid the growth of the so-called incel subculture. So this culture is growing in school of just men feeling disconnected from society. So these kids, they're growing up, they're not really understanding how the dynamics of all this works. They go on the internet just like anybody else because a lot of parents don't raise their kids and they're soaking up all of this incel content. And I won't lie, incel content, it's branded as if it's like edgy or cool, whatever. Like, yeah, you almost want to become an incel or be an incel once you watch these videos because it's like a you against the world type thing where you join a club and the club is called incel. You join this cool club called incel, and then it's you and all the other incels battling against the world. People are like, yeah, I want to be an incel, not even really knowing what it means. But since these are literally teenagers and children, they don't even know how relationships, all that stuff work. So obviously, and they probably can relate to this because none of these guys know how to get girls. None of these guys know how to talk to girls. These are kids here. They don't know how to talk to freaking girls. They're just starting out and they're already saying they're an incel. You have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-year olds saying they're an incel, identifying as an incel before they've even had a chance to enter the dating market, before they've even had a chance to learn how to pick up girls. They're just starting out. So it's setting them up for failure, branding them as something before they've even had a chance to prove that they're not an incel. So let's read some more of this. 1 in 6 boys aged 6 to 15 have a positive opinion of Andrew Tate. Now, Andrew Tate is not an incel. Andrew Tate is nowhere near even close to being an incel. He's just a alpha male. I mean, he definitely has an incel face, but he's not an incel. Confidence wise, he has confidence. He looks max. He freaking hit the gym. He's a pro player. How is he an incel? This article makes no sense. A social media influencer and self-styled king of toxic masculinity. According to YouGov Children's Omnibus survey last week, the former kickboxer has been charged in Romania with rape and human trafficking. Again, this has nothing to do with incels. Andrew Tate is not an incel, so let's skip here. Tate's recent media coverage has sparked conversations around incel culture, said the Evening Standard. Although Tate does not identify as involuntary celibate, many of his fans are lonely young men. So think about it. A lot of Andrew Tate's followers and people who look up to them are incels, which is ironic because Andrew Tate himself is not an incel. He's just not. A lot of the stuff he says resonates with incels. Like, it's kind of a strange dynamic how incels look up to all these giga chads, these celebrities, these famous people when they are incel. They should look up to other incels? Why look up to something you will never be able to? Why look up to somebody who has achieved a status you will never be able to attain? He has reached a point you will never be able to obtain. He has reached a power status you will never be able to obtain. So why do we look up to these people? Why do these incels look up to these people and just instantly worship them when I thought incels hated men with confidence? The media has been telling me for years that incels hate people with confidence, hate people who succeed in life. Well, clearly that's not true. So it says last May, the Department of Education said there had been significant increases in teachers reporting pupils to the government counterterrorism scheme prevent over mixed or unclear ideology, including inceldom, according to Schools Week. Government figures show such referrals leapt from 193 to in 2017 to 1071 in 2019 to 2020. So yeah, so they're literally reporting kids just for agreeing with Andrew Tate. Now, this is the UK we're talking about. This is not America. In America, your teacher wouldn't be able to report you just because you said something wrong, just because you might have the wrong ideologies. The UK is basically China at this point. I mean, you have no civil rights. You can't defend yourself. The government always has a boot on your neck. I don't know why anybody in this world would want to live in the UK. The UK is a dump. And matter of fact, I'd rather live in China than the United Kingdom, because at least China, you can afford a house, a wife, food. You can afford basic living expenses. But in the UK, people are living paycheck to paycheck, unable to pay rent, unable to move out of their parents' house, which is why they have such a huge, massive incel problem. All this stuff adds up. If I knew how to speak Chinese and I had the choice between the freaking UK and China, I definitely choose China. And then it says, how did it go mainstream in the UK? It says in August 2021, Jake Davidson became a cause celebrity for woman-hating incel extremists, said the Times, after the 22-year-old shot and killed 5 people, including his mother and a 3-year-old girl, and injured 2 others in Plymouth before fatally shooting himself. David held strong misogynistic views. So just the way this article is framing this, like, oh, because there's one bad guy in a part of a I wouldn't call incel a group. It's really a way of life. It is a state of sexuality. It's not a cult. It's not a group. It's not an organization. It's just a state of sexuality. And the way they're almost like framing sexless men as if they're like freaking terrorists. That's just absurd. That's literally absurd. So because you don't have sex, you are probably going to do bad things, is what they're saying. It's no wonder a lot of younger people are feeling more closely related to incels, because if you're labeled as a sexless man, then society instantly turns against you. Okay? If you reach the ages of 14, 15, 16, people will start calling you a virgin. Oh, you didn't have sex yet? You're a loser virgin. The number one insult people use against men is calling them a virgin. So when you get called a virgin or an incel or a nerd, all these other words for involuntary celebrate bait, you will start to feel guilty. You will start to feel alone. You will start to feel like you're lagging behind in society. You will start to feel isolated. And what do these people do when they feel isolated? They go on those stupid black pill forums. They go on those stupid incel forums. They talk to people online that have been called incel, going through their same exact situation, and then you get incel subculture. So the media, the system, the teacher, the authority figures, they are creating this culture that they hate so much. If an incel would have never been called an incel or a virgin, he would have been perfectly fine, because men, we don't really need sex like that. Yeah, we get horny, but we can relieve ourselves. We know how to take care of it on our own. And a lot of men would rather be single than being in a relationship. But because we hype up not being a virgin, we say, oh, your ultimate goal in life should be having sex to get a girlfriend, to get married. We live in this simp culture. Of course there's going to be incels. Of course there's going to be people that feel alone and inadequate. You know, I don't care. I'm single. I have no interest in going on dates. I've seen the way the world works. I'd have to be a freaking fool to get into a serious relationship with a woman, let alone get married so I can get divorced, taken to court and put on child support. No, absolutely not. If things change, maybe if I become rich, I might. If I have no financial responsibilities or duties, yes, I might. If I just run a company and want to pass on a legacy, yes, I might. But a lot of people are just having children without even having a legacy. There's no point in having children if you have no legacy. You are supposed to get the money first. You are supposed to start the business first. You are supposed to pave the way first. You are supposed to become financially independent first. You don't go out as a 21-year-old, have children, get married, and then you don't have a business. You don't have a company. A lot of people are having children living in a studio apartment, not having a house, not having any sort of a living standard. All you are doing is passing on your poverty onto your children. Okay, your children will be screwed. Your children will live a life of suffering, of being poor, being a wage cuck. That is what you're doing. Okay, a child is a form of life that has experiences, that goes through pain. People say, "Oh, all I do is have to have children, and then I succeeded. I succeeded." And then they just stop there. They don't stop to think, "Okay, what can I do to maximize my child's happiness?" People don't think that. People think as long as they are above these pathetic, inferior incels, then they succeeded in life. But non-incels are even bigger losers than the freaking incels because they created a form of life, did not raise it properly, and then that child ends up doing bad things. How come we're not shaming these loser parents that keep popping out children that contribute nothing to society and end up committing crimes? We're going to blame the incel killer. We're going to blame the incel shooter. We're going to blame them, but we're not going to blame these terrible parents. We're not going to blame these stupid, idiotic, selfish, irresponsible parents. We're not going to do that. Oh, let's blame the incels while we ignore the fact that all these single mothers are popping out children left and right, not raising them because they're too busy at work. You can't raise a kid and have a full-time job. It's just not possible. So these kids end up on the streets committing crime because they don't have a masculine father figure to keep them in check, to give them a few spankings every once in a while. No, 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 no. They go out and commit crimes, and guess who's blamed for those crimes? Incel, virgins, lonely men. And lonely men are not the ones committing these crimes. Incels are not the ones committing these crimes. It is usually the player type dudes, the dudes that go from woman to woman to woman, popping out kids, having 4 or 5 baby mamas. Those are the ones committing these crimes. Incels, they don't do anything but freaking browse Reddit, play video games, talk shit among their friends. That's all they do. They are not harming anyone. The media is trying to shame the people who choose to be single, who choose to be alone, and those that don't choose. So they are trying to utterly kill our social reputation, utterly kill and destroy our credibility to make us seem like we're some sort of monsters. Don't believe this article is trash.